Hey everybody, this is Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. First of all, I want to give a shout out to our main sponsors, Rising Suns, the award-winning brewery in Cork. Lads, anytime you're in Cork, please do call in to sample some of the fantastic beers on selection there. That'll be fun. So I'm delighted to welcome Ciaran Eoin from Shardborne, and I've got Howard up on the left there as a co-host tonight. So thanks for joining me, lads. I'm really looking forward to this. I suppose chat. It's not a fucking interview, really.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, great to have the internet hang with you.
Yes, indeed.
Always a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, and I'm fronting a Limerick band tonight, slung from a tree.
Nice.
Big shout out to Owen and the lads. You know, it's the Limerick posse in the house again tonight. The reason why you're on is I suppose, yeah, fuck it. It's done now, more or less, isn't it? Oars in the Water. It's the new Shardborne release. It's coming out October when?
7th, pretty much. It might go up online maybe the night before, but we're doing our launch on the 7th. In like Joe, we're doing a launch gig for it. So
and October 7th, Casbah Dolan's.
So that's what we're kind of aiming for anyway. Yeah.
Right, and who's supporting you on the night, or is it just yourselves? Or
At the moment, we've had a couple of supports fall through, so we haven't got someone lined up yet, but we'll have someone. We'll have something special in plan.
Yes, yeah. I think by the time this episode goes out, anyway, the show will be over. So.
Congratulations on a great show, lads.
Brilliant show. I fucking loved it, actually.
Shame about the incident.
And is it going to be on the it's in Dolan's, is it? Sorry? Or is it?
It's in the Casbah.
Yeah.
So who's going to be doing sound that night?
That was part of the problem with getting the supports, was that we were trying to get myself and Liam, the other sound guy in Dolan's. We were trying to get our two bands to play together. He plays in Sweets, so but unfortunately they weren't able to do it. So Liam is going to do sound for us now.
That'd be great, man. It's a shame.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's great.
Shame. I'm going to miss it. I know.
He can't play it, but like it's great to have him doing sound anyway.
Yeah, be a great one to see, Howard, but I'm sure we'll get the lads down in Cork at some stage.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope to see the lads in Cork. You know, have you anything planned for Cork? Or
we've been talking to your regular contributor Evan about a show, maybe doing something in November, but that didn't end up panning out for us. So we'll get something in. We'll get something sorted. He's eager to get us anyway.
Yeah,
that's good.
I always love playing in Cork, Joe.
It's tricky down there at the moment. Not too many venues, so like
we're a bit choked with it. We've got Fred's is always there. It's always hanging on, and we're very grateful to have it, to be honest. But there's not really many other places doing gigs at all. The PAV have been dipping their toe in, but it's very hard to get 100 people into the PAV on a Thursday night, you know.
Yeah, I think my first time meeting Richie was in the pavilion in person.
It was correct. Yeah,
we've done pieces. I think that was it 3 years ago last week or something? I got a Facebook memory about it.
Wow, holy shit. Was that with Boy Curious or God Alone or one of those?
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one. Good memory, Richie.
I don't know how the fuck I pulled that out of my arse, but anyway, we'll take the credit when the credit is due. So he dropped us the album. Thank you so much, but we didn't have enough time to fucking really get into the nitty gritty of it, unfortunately. But from what I have listened to it, I mean, I've listened to it now 4 to 5 times, and it's a work of staggering musicianship. First of all, that's the first thing that struck me, and it's a musical odyssey as complex as it is accessible. I'm sure you can understand that sentiment.
Yeah,
and I thought, like, the journey twists and turns through numerous arteries feeding into the heart of Oars in the Water, which rewards the listener with an overall feeling of happiness and forms a unique bond to the band and the music. That's what I wrote down. Just
lovely. Oh yeah. We'll take that all day long.
yeah. That's going on the blurb. That's going on the blurb though.
Quote me if you want, but that's how I feel about it after 5 listens to it, and I can't wait to actually settle down with it and have some me time and just fucking absorb what you're giving us. Howard, over to you, man. You had
I think you sent me the tracks about a week ago now, and I think the first track on it was Oars in the Water itself, which I got stuck on. I just kept fucking listening to that. I must have listened to that a dozen times, so I haven't listened to the rest of the album as much. But yeah, it's fantastic, lads. I'm really looking forward to sitting down with it properly, because it does seem like one of those things that there's so much to uncover in one track alone. You know, it reminded me of going through a storm in a ship or something, and there's just waves coming left and right, and then there's a bit of a, you know, the eye of the storm, and then it just gets crazy again.
Like we kind of go for like with it, like kind of what you were alluding to, that like a first listen, you're like, oh, like, you know, it sounds big or whatever, but then on like multiple listens, you start noticing the little details of little things, and like little harmonies here, and, you know, like, oh, the little thing changes here on the drums or whatever. So that you know, we go for an interesting listen rather than like you know, like
an immediate.
Accessibility isn't exactly high on our priorities, but like it's more of like a like we don't do traditional song structures in terms of like verses and choruses and stuff like that. Like the songs, as we like to do it, they ebb and flow. So like you start in one place, then you in the middle you go here, and then by the end of it you're doing something else. That's kind of what we go for anyway.
Well, it's the musicianship is the kind of remarkable thing about it.
It is
like you do a guitar run there towards the end of Oars in the Water, and it's just fucking fantastic. It's like, it's not this isn't pissing around. This is like studied music. This is experience and effort, you know. It's fantastic, and everybody across the board is just on it. It's fucking class.
Yeah, we were lucky, like Joan, playing with like Ben and Cormac anyway. Do you know what I mean? They're like they're any idea that any of us come up with, like Joan, we're like the lad, all the rest of us generally are able to like go along with it or whatever, and we try and make stuff work. And Joan, we're all playing in loads of bands and stuff, so Joan, like this is kind of, for most of us anyway, it's kind of the experimental band where we get to go a bit more like, Joe, you could come in with just about anything, and if we can fit it into a song, we'll put it in. You know, it's not like, Joe, so we're lucky that way to be playing with guys that are, you know, so good and able to just collaborate with us in whatever we come up with, like, you know.
I suppose because the two of you are so well known in the scene, there's a familiarity with Witchy through The Siege and through We Come in Pieces, Settler, and, you know, I could keep going, but like this basically is Shardborne. This is the podcast, and it's about G. So if you don't mind, maybe just fill in the listeners. You have to go back in time here, lads. Just have to screw on the old memory caps here and just enlighten me in relation to how you were formed. Like, I know the EP came out in 2011. That was the first debut EP.
35 years ago, the two of us spent nine months sharing a room. I guess the band started, like, you know, we're twins, so like we like obviously we started playing together, and then how we actually met Ben is kind of very random. Ben is from Massachusetts in America.
What? I didn't know that.
He moved here when he was 14, and his mother worked with a family friend of ours. So the two of us,
who was a metalhead, and he gave us some of our first tapes with like Iron Maiden, Manowar. He brought us to Metallica. My first gig was Metallica, and he brought us and stuff. And he worked with Ben. He worked with Ben's mum.
She was mentioning, that like her son plays drums. He doesn't know anyone in Ireland yet, and he was like, "Oh, I know these two young fellas, and like they play guitar, and like they're looking for people to play with." So we kind of ended up literally, just how long ago it was, landlines, you know,
pagers. Was it even before pagers?
Rang it up. You know, hi, like, Chris, any chance we could talk to Ben? And she puts Ben on the phone, and Owen was talking to him, and we ended up getting together for like a bit of a jam, and like we all like similar stuff, like we had like similar kind of backgrounds and stuff, so we started playing together, and we haven't stopped playing together since. Like, I think me and Owen were maybe 16 and Ben was like 14 or something like that.
Jesus.
Maybe
14, 15,
yeah, something like that anyway. And that's we've been playing together ever since. We had a couple of different bass players over the years, but we got to know Cormac from like the Baker Place days.
Yes.
He was playing in Shadow March, but he also had like He was playing drums in Shadow March. He was playing guitar in a band called Built for Comfort, and we got to know him.
Ben played with
Built for Comfort on drums. So then when one of our bass players, like Donald, felt when he ended up not playing with us anymore, he was the natural choice to join us. So that's how Cormac ended up in the fold. And like we've just, we're all still super good friends. We all play a bunch of bands together.
Yeah. It's basically coming out of but that jump pretty much since coming out of college nearly it's been the same lineup, And
like
that's gone back.
The potpourri of influences that go into Shardborne, there doesn't seem to be any restrictions in relation to musical boundaries with this band. I'm just guessing. We've
kind of always said that if somebody brings something to the table, as long as it's a good idea, like fair game. Like if it could be something that might be jazzy, could be something maybe even poppy, could be something, black metal, death metal, prog metal, whatever. As long as it's an idea that we think we're having fun playing and that we think it's cool, if we can fit it into a song, we'll throw it in there.
Yeah, we've always as well been kind of like almost pushing each other, like Joe. So like someone might bring in, like especially years ago when someone would have just gotten into something and none of the rest of us would have heard it. We might bring in an idea like that, and we'd be like, "Oh, what's that?" And it'd just kind of go from there, and just kind of constantly evolving into different. Metal is very wide, so like different subgenres as well as like Ciaran was saying, like cleaner stuff and jazzier things and stuff. But just trying to make it all work in a coherent way in Shardborne, then so there is nothing that would be off the table, but it's just whether or not we could actually get them into a song together, So like the stuff that you've heard is the stuff that we've actually got to work. There's probably ideas that were even more out there, but we could never get them into a song,
But when these guys were starting off at the beginning, I remember seeing some of your earlier shows, and I think at one point you were doing vocals yourselves, and then you had Diarmid in for a bit.
Yeah, Diarmid from Crack Sabbath. Yeah.
So
it was always like we saw you quite a lot because it would be every third Sunday, and every time you'd see Shardborne in those days, it was a slightly different iteration of the previous gig. It was just a constantly evolving thing.
Yeah, like I suppose that is worth mentioning. In the earlier days of the band, like 15 years, maybe close to 15 years ago now, like we would have been we tried the vocal thing, and it was kind of work getting it to actually because the songs were still a bit crazy and weird, and we were just trying to put in vocals in, and it was hard. And then so the singer stuff that we were looking for, we were going clean singing for parts, heavier, and it was a tall order. But we ended up doing a few shows. The singer couldn't make it, and we played instrumental, and like the response was really good. People were like, "Whoa! I never realized that the music underneath was that interesting and stuff." So when things didn't really work out with with Diarmid, that last singer, and like he's still a great friend of ours. We play music with him all the time. Myself and Ciaran are in a band with him. We do
3 bands with him.
Jesus.
So we still like Joe. It's not like we fell out or anything. But we just decided to go instrumental, and from then it really opened up the doors for it
allowed us to make the songs more adventurous, more complicated, more instead of having to have a part, let's say 4 parts long, so that you could fit a verse over it or whatever, we could make the part as long, you could make it 1 3/4 apart. Whatever we felt like would make the song flow in a way that we thought was interesting and cool. And so then we were like, we don't have to do verses, we don't have to do choruses, we can just have parts and semi parts and stuff like that. So that's kind of once we dropped the vocals, we felt like really allowed us to open up the song structures as a band and to just make things more creative in general.
Yeah, we also got a lot more varied gigs from once we've been instrumental. We started getting put on mixed bills a bit more, because we were the heavy band. We were often the heaviest band on the bill, but then there'd be people there and they're like, "Oh, I've seen metal before, but I never liked it, but I like what you do." Because they don't. Some people have that switch off with the metal vocals, where like it's a line that they can't cross. Whereas like just heavier music, then they were like, oh yeah, I can get into that. You know?
Yeah. I was just going to say that, and I was throwing it at Howard because, you know, I think if you did have a vocalist, you'd be more easier to be boxed in.
We'd be pigeonholed for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. It was that was something that we did experience with like when we did have vocals before. We found that we were being like, people were always trying to like put us into a category regarding the vocals, and then like the music kind of became like a second like second string. So like, you know, like the way I talk about it now is like we can play like a mat rock build and fool them into listening to some death metal, whereas like before before it would have been like, oh, people would just get stuck on the vocals and like it would never go below that with their like analysis of the band, if you got me.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to play one track straight away, and this is The Professor. Harmonies and crescendos all the way through this album.
Steve Lukather, fucking first thing that comes to mind, isn't that? Is Steve Lukather swinging in from fucking left field there.
Yeah,
really nice to listen to. It's really cool.
I'm thinking of that you know that what's it called, that game in the 80s, arcade game, Outback, is it, or Outdrive or something?
Oh yeah.
One with the car.
Yeah, you're driving the driving game.
Yeah. And Steve Vai. There's just loads fucking going on with it.
There's a thing with that song actually, like it's called The Professor.
Go on.
And that's basically a tribute to Neil Peart, the drummer from Rush.
Cool.
So he, like, his nickname was The Professor. So like he died in the last few years. So like the song is kind of named in tribute to him, but the vibe is very much like the late 70s, 80s prog rock, kind of prog rock, but the poppier side of prog rock.
Yes.
So kind of like the 80s Rush, let's say, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Was kind of the vibe that we were kind of going for. A little bit like Joe. It's kind of a little bit happy, but it's still kind of rocking, and it's got a bit of a bounce to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
definitely.
then typical Shardborne fashion, it all gets turned sideways for a little while.
Of course it does. Yes, and like Howard, the production on it.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's like, I know Ben did a lot, and I think it shows. That's the amount of layers. Just not this particular track, but Oars in the Water. The amount of layers on that thing to peel back. Just thinking from a guitarist point of view, I mean, clearly you used a series of different amps for this.
Would that be correct? So the way that like it was recorded was like Ben recorded the drums. I recorded most of the guitars and the bass, and then we did a few bits all together then, and then Ben mixed it. So Richard Dowling did the mastering job on it then. So
Richard in Limerick.
Yeah, he's a good friend of ours. So
he's a real pro as well.
Brilliant job.
Yeah, he's been at it years. He did Kylie Minogue.
Oh,
yeah.
He's got like gold records on the wall, like, do you know what I mean?
Like we were super happy with the job that Ben did mixing it and everything. Amps wise, like we used, it was actually kind of funny. We did use a variety of stuff, but you'll probably find this more interesting than Richie now, Howard. It's pretty much like a vintage style Marshall and a 5150 on each of our guitars.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, is it an 800?
It's a JCM 800 and it's a JCM 800 and 5150 Mark III for most of my guitars, and then it's Silver Jubilee and normal 5150 for most of his. But then there's
pedals and
there's a wreck load of pedals, and there's like a.
Can we give a shout out to John Quill on any of those pedals?
No, he wasn't. He was before John.
Fuck it.
John, great friends with John, and Joe have a good few of his pedals and stuff. But it would have been, we would have done all that before. So we actually share a practice space where all the guitars were reamped and everything was done in the same jam room we share with John. But it was before his thing. But you were saying with the layers. It's something we kind of do when we're recording our own stuff, like with Shardborne. Because we do, like, Ciaran was doing the guitar recording, so we weren't really limited with like a day in the studio or whatever. So it did take us a long time to do it, but we went absolutely to town with the layers on the guitars. So there's we used acoustics, like a nylon, a Spanish guitar.
We have a new trick that we have a guitar set up in. It's the higher set from a 12-string set, so it's called Nashville tuning. So it's like four of the strings are an octave higher than they normally would be, and you don't use that as the doubling thing. So that gives like a nice chimey kind of quality. We use that for like a lot of the cleans and like some of the.
You don't have to change like how you play the cards, but it sounds different. So you
is that on Diatom? That
all over that song, yeah,
it's class.
Pretty much most of the clean parts have a hint of that in there. So we ended up doing, and then there's harmonies that we just like discovered when we were tracking. We'd be like, oh, there's a cool harmony, and we'll kind of put those tracks in. So we did a lot of layers, but then it was up to Ben then to kind of pick and choose what he used for certain parts, Joe, because obviously you can't have everything in all the time. But we did, like, Joe, and there's lots of different guitars that we have, Joe, 8-string, 7-string, 6 strings, like acoustics, like I was saying, that kind of cracks is kind of a big smattering of what we have between us, kind of thrown on there.
Yeah,
we had a lot of fun with it.
Obviously,
the downside is it took a long time.
Yeah, because I was going to
JCM on it, like, having a JCM 800 on an album is like getting your car serviced the day before the NCT. You're going to pass.
Oh, really? Yeah.
They're so fucking reliable, and you hear it when you're listening to these things. I was really remarkable with the guitar tone. Listening to the previous albums, Living Bridges and Aeonian Sequence, they don't drive as hard. There's a lot more space. There's a lot less kind of Meshuggah-esque visceral riffing. If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's far easier on the ear.
Yeah, we definitely I think the album is simultaneously the lightest and also the heaviest stuff that we have. So we kind of try to go a bit more extreme in both ways.
But we definitely, I'd say, our tastes as a band generally, we've probably a bit mellower. Like, Joe, we wouldn't be trying to be the heaviest thing. Like with some of the earlier stuff, like let's say there's a lot more down-tuned 8-stringy kind of stuff on the earlier things, whereas some of this stuff isn't really as much, we'd put some of it in for layers, whereas before I was writing on the 8-string, let's say, whereas now there is a thing, so that kind of it's kind of definitely mellowing out a bit, like most bands do, I think, as they get a little bit older, just kind of Joe, I think a lot of bands go that way, where they kind of.
I'm sure Mick Carey would disagree. To save his reputation. I just want to go back actually to Living Bridges, which was released to fucking a load of plaudits in 2015, and I mean you did
the artwork behind Dawn there on the wall where you can just.
I can see it. Yeah,
that's the actual painting from that.
Was that Ken Coleman?
No, it was Douglas, a guy from the UK. He's like does like a fancy book artwork, and he does like stained glass pieces and stuff. He was fantastic to work with, a really nice gentleman.
Okay. Okay.
I was actually with you that day. I think we were recording a Rogue track for Five Will Die for a Bad Rep compilation. You had just gotten the artwork. I remember you were opening up and showing me and telling me the story about it. But yeah, to see the piece up, it's fucking. I mean, the detail in it is ridiculous. It's like a DMT trip. It's really cool.
Yeah, like we were really lucky with how that turned out. Everyone always remarks on it.
Yeah. Great comparison there, Howard. You know, okay, so I'm still trying to reflect back and connect up to that are just probably just trying to figure out where Shardborne came from. I mean, Living Bridges 2015, I'm sure when you recorded that, you weren't expecting such a fucking how many years in the difference now? Probably
oh, for sure.
8 years, like, Jesus Christ. That wasn't definitely not part of the plan.
It's becoming a bit of a running joke amongst certain friends of ours that it was like, oh, that Shardborne album coming next year, is this? Because we have been working on it for a very long time, and like we obviously never intended it for it to be so long. We had a lot of the material like was starting to take shape when the last one came out. We'd already started writing and stuff, but we always said quality over quantity. We'd rather put out something that we're completely happy with and that we think really makes a statement, rather than putting out something for the sake of having something out quickly. So like like
8 years though, lads.
Yeah, I know.
You can talk all you want about like quality over quantity. 8 fucking years, like.
I think COVID bought us 2 years grace there.
It did. It did. All right, I'll give you that. Fair
that
enough.
Definitely did slow things down. Like this is actually like it was all recorded before COVID and stuff. So like
okay, there you go then. All right.
I think it might have been even mixed.
No,
we
started mixing before COVID, but we just like no one wants to talk about COVID times or whatever, but a part of it was definitely like, so we got like the stuff like mixed and finished during that period, and then we didn't want to put it out immediately afterwards because we felt like the market was very oversaturated.
Yes,
like everybody
Correct.
had 3 side projects. They brought it, they had their COVID EPs, like they had all this.
Sure, Richie'd know better than anyone. I mean, you've probably, Joe, like with all the new material that came out.
Yeah, it was just like an avalanche. It was like there was shit lost in amongst that, which was really good as well.
We decided that we'd rather wait a little bit.
5 years in at that stage, might as well wait another 2.
But in between that, you did a fantastic live video through
the live stream with Zella Cult and was it Sora?
Brigantia, I think, was it?
Yes, it was Brigantia.
Briganti, correct, yeah. Was there any tracks on that are on the new album?
The songs from this record, the upcoming record on that,
Okay.
I know the Professor is on there for sure, and probably at least 1 or 2 more.
There is. I was watching it a couple of days back, just, sometimes easier to watch than to listen,
Sure, yeah.
I've recognized a few bits. Probably a few different arrangements that time, but fucking live was interesting watching you play these things.
It was
because
brilliant.
There's a lot to peel back. Are you finding that maybe you might struggle with some of the layers, or do you have things to compensate that?
Not particularly, to be honest.
We always play we always write the songs live, so that's what we start with, and that's kind of we keep to what we're playing live then. And then we do add layers or whatever when we're recording. And sometimes something might happen when we're recording where one of us might change what we're doing to maybe
add a layer for like end of a riff. I might jump in and do the harmony to do like the little harmony that comes in at the end.
Yeah.
That like that part comes together in the recording. But then, like as Owen was saying, like the songs they're put together live in the jam room. Like we don't send stuff to each other. We don't, like, it's put together organically. Like we're not like copying and pasting stuff at home and then like bringing that to the jam room.
Nobody writes a whole song and puts it together and gives it to everyone else. It's everything we go in
with a riff idea,
fully collaborated,
and then we all put it together collaboratively. Yeah, so like it's so when we finish writing a song, the way that we have it written is more or less how we play it live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it isn't too bad for peeling it back.
Joe, the finished recordings are probably like Joe. They're obviously more polished and they have the layers. So like Joe, I do like people to listen to those, but like I think you still get a sense of it when you're seeing us live anyway. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a few little things like I've been experimenting with this happened during like COVID and stuff. I think I used it on the live stream that we were talking about previously. I play synths with my feet sometimes to like add an extra layer like and stuff. Just like so like there's there's little things like that we'll add in. But like and you might like do like you might do like a little chord like or a little like double stop thing on guitar to like get that extra layer in like when you're like playing it live. But it's just little things like that. But like figuring out how to play this stuff live is a lot more organic than you think.
Yeah. I was pleased to actually find going through the tracks that it's not oversaturated with synth. Some bands go down that route just to
maybe 3 parts in the whole thing.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, because just to create this fucking soundscape, which isn't needed in this. I think you have a beautiful balance there with all the instruments, and you do create perfect soundscapes, but there's space for every instrument, if you know what I mean.
Some of the stuff, like I think some people might listen to it and think there's more synth on it. But
a lot of what you think is synth is actually guitar.
Yeah.
Like Joe, yeah. So we would have been Joe.
It was kind of a mission statement between the two of us when we were recording it that we would do as much with guitars and not have to do stuff on synthesizers or keyboards.
Yeah.
That way, so that like we were like there's certain things like even some of the more kind of sound effecty parts, like in one of the songs, there's like the intro, there's like a kind of a rain kind of a sound.
Oh yeah,
that's guitar. Yeah. It's
any sax.
Not in this one. No.
I was going to say
I'd be all over it like a rash, Howard, if there was sax. But
I was like, is it buried there somewhere now? Through
no, I thought I
something.
One or two parts. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to squeeze it in, but
yeah, it must have been tough to hold that back.
Found the right place for it, so I left it out. Save it for the next one. And what's that going to be? 2030.
So we're going to play another track off it. This is Homeward. Okay, here it comes. Fuck yeah, that's class. Okay. here's the thing, right? In an alternative universe, the Metal Cell is this huge record label, okay? We've got oceans of fucking money, and you're on my label. So I'm going to you, Shardborne. Here's all the money you want. Have a listening party. Where would you have it, and what would it entail?
Interesting. That's a great question. Now, that's a great question. Give me a second. Where would you have a listening party? Have to be somewhere different, like a rooftop or like a boat.
Yeah.
Maybe on a boat on the River Shannon, maybe. Like
no, it's too fucking cold and miserable. I'm giving you an unlimited budget, man, and you can bring whoever you want, and you have to actually describe what they can consume. Everything. I want the fucking full.
Well, you're gonna have a full bar, Joe, with all the stouts.
Okay, good.
For sure. Probably a fairly lax smoking policy, I'd imagine.
Perfect. I'm with that. I'm throwing money at you. I'm throwing money. Yeah. Where are we though? What fucking location are we?
Yeah, geez, I don't know.
I'm thinking rooftop now would be rooftop with heaters, like, you know, but with an ocean-sized view, because there's a water theme in the album, so you gotta have some water nearby.
Yes,
like,
I love it. I love it. Are we going to go to Italy then? Maybe I could recommend Sorrento. I'm only just back from there.
I think we should get a private plane and float it down to Shannon and hotbox the fucking thing.
Yeah. Now we're talking. Yeah. That one. He said it.
Those things are fucking airtight, you know.
I'm not too hot on the rooftop thing now, to be honest.
It's dangerous, like.
We're nice and close to the ground, especially if we're going to be.
Yeah, it's a long way down, like.
You know what I mean? I don't know, like somewhere in Joe, we're a Limerick band. I think somewhere Limerick, King John's Castle.
Okay.
The courtyard of King John's Castle.
Perfect.
Outside, so no one's bothered by anyone smoking.
Beside the River Shannon, you can smoke away. All the drinks. Not too far away.
It would have to be May. I'm suggesting May because there's decent weather in May. Like.
Yeah.
Sure, now it's Ireland now, I mean.
We'll do it when the leaving cert is on, so we're guaranteed some good weather.
Yeah.
And what bands would you have? Would you have 2 or 3 bands on as well as a listening party? Go on, give a few shout outs there.
God alone.
Yeah, you'd have to have them play, like, you know.
They're the ultimate party band, absolutely.
Young whippersnappers, they're great lads.
Mates bands, do you know what I mean? Some of the...
I'm fucking throwing money at you now. Come on, who else is there? Take my money.
Yeah.
God alone, open and Meshuggah. There you go.
There we go. Now we're talking.
No, that's great.
We are playing in a little room in the side if anyone wants to go in there.
You get slung from a tree tent.
Yeah.
You go in, but you don't come out.
The green room. Like.
That's where the actual listening party would go on. Yeah, the green room. Brilliant. That's perfect, man. Absolutely. We'll go with that then. Whenever fucking the Metal Cell just becomes
we'll get you on the guest list.
Absolutely huge, yeah. So the title. Talk to me about the title. I love the title, by the way.
So it's one of the songs was called Oars in the Water, and that kind of came about. We're instrumental, so we can call our songs anything. So we kind of we spitball some ideas and take the songs from like new song to whatever title. And generally, like I if I come across a cool phrase or anything, I take it down on my phone. I'm sure a lot of people do the same kind of thing. And the oars in the water, basically, there's a kind of a phrase: if you don't have both oars in the water, it means you're crazy.
You
know, it's like having a screw loose or whatever. So oars in the water is kind of that, but it also, it's kind of a like.
It's also a Viking thing then that has there was a thing where
oars or whatever.
Yeah, it was when you're basically we're gonna go pushing into battle, it was like, all right, we're getting ready. It's like oars in the water, and then push, you drive. Yeah. So then that's when. So it kind of had a double meaning, and we thought they were both kind of interesting and both kind of fitted our kind of thing. We were
kind of, it brings an image in your mind as well, like, do you know what I mean? And I think Ireland is very, very being like an island and all that. I think water is not that far from a lot of people. Just like when it comes to creative imagery and that kind of
Brilliant.
thing.
Yeah.
Like it is quite common. You see it like as a theme with a lot of I suppose with metal bands as well.
Like
Corvona.
Oh yeah. But so, we got a shock because with Partlon at the moment we're finishing up the album and it's very nautical themed, and we were discussing different titles and different things only the last 2 weeks. The next thing we see on Shardborne's page, this pops up and we're like, oh, well, we're not using that anyway.
Fucking hell, that's mental.
Like I was like, waited another year.
There's some cosmic shit going on here, you know.
Oh yeah,
that's very funny. That's very funny.
So you got Stephen Lindsay involved then to translate that musical idea and the title. He did a fucking terrific job. We were lucky to get a look at the image actually. So wow.
Yeah, like Steve Lindsay, like Iron Parasite. So basically, he has a connection with Ben, our drummer, and
okay.
Ben plays with it. Has played in a number of groups with his brother.
Right. Okay.
So we were looking for someone to do it, and like we know some other artists and stuff. We were kind of looking for something in particular, and we got to a stage where we just kind of we had to pick someone. Ben said he'd go, like he knew this guy, so we'd go with him, and we were really, really happy with how it turned out and everything. He did a really good job. Like very easy to work with. Like pretty much came back immediately with a bunch of good ideas. And we had a few kind of pointers because there's kind of almost a few notes to some of the song titles in the artwork. So there's like diatom is a type of like algae kind of thing. So there's a bit of that in the image and on the image on the back. And then there's also like another track, the Galactic Mergers. So we wanted the night sky to be kind of prominent in the artwork as well.
Right. Okay.
So he kind of tied in a few of the ideas that we had based on song titles and kind of managed to work them into an image.
I will say, interestingly, I know your stance on this, Richie. We used, it's not on the finished thing at all, but when we were workshopping ideas, we used like some of the AI software stuff we put in like some prompts, like using our album title stuff, and to kind of take it, like, so we'd be like Irish Corach, like back, stuff like that, just to give us like a little bit of
context,
just as a way of workshopping concepts.
Yeah,
and then like we presented some of them to Iron Parasite then as well, like and then he had free reign to like do his own thing, but that was just like we were like, hey, this is some stuff that we've kind of like figured out that we like as like a reference.
Yeah.
We weren't like use this stuff. We were like, here's like a reference, and then so he went with that. So it was we did find it fascinating because we didn't want to use an AI thing as the artwork because we know how people feel about that, and we wanted to give the job to somebody proper and stuff like that. But it was just I just thought you might find that interesting yourself because
absolutely,
or like there is a place for a tool like that.
There is a place
without it being taking anything away from without it taking the place of an artist or taking work away from someone.
For sure,
just allowed us to speed up the process a small bit.
Yeah, you can understand that, Howard. You're an artist yourself.
Absolutely,
you need a reference.
I'm not as mad as most are about the AI thing. I mean, I use it a lot for just like that, and a lot of what I get from it is what not to use, I guess. You get that sort of it gives you a really generic feedback to what you give it.
It's a tool. I think you can use it to
exactly.
I mean, there's loads. You could compare it to a lot of things, like Jones. Like you could say using guitar pedals are cheating. Or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like where do you draw the line?
Multi-tracking is cheating. The fact that we use layers.
But
I play in a band where they consider that cheating. I was like, what?
It's just another thing that will swing on by and we'll all move on.
John, like but like I'd like to give artists money if I have the money to give them, because like
absolutely.
But I understand if someone wants to use it and they can't afford to give an artist.
There's that too. But I think it's pushing people in the direction of artists lately. I think a lot of people are actually going against that and kind of engaging with artists because of AI. Just out of pure dismay with the whole setup. And so, there is positive things coming out of AI, I think, in that regard. I think it is pushing work back to the artists,
I think you summed it up lovely. It's just when you said that you can see everything that's wrong with AI, and that actually, yeah.
Like I say, the thing
it's
is
a good reference.
Even said we just use it as a referencing tool. It was just, I know I've listened to your podcasts before where you talked about it, so I just said I'd bring that point up.
Yeah, no, it's very good. Fair play. What's the story with Gunchucks? Where did that title come from?
What's not to like about gunchucks? Like,
they're nunchucks, but at the end of each nunchuck, they're guns.
Love it.
Like it was just again, I think it was a phrase that came across somewhere. I thought it was a cool idea, and I put it down on the list. And when I brought it to the lads, they were like, "Yeah."
Gets a laugh, and we were like, "Oh, it's cool." That song has like
we speaking of art stuff, we did actually use that as a brief as well for a possible t-shirt design. So you might see it down the line.
Yeah,
like
you can have fun with that.
Something.
Yeah, you can have fun with that.
Exactly.
Like Joe, it's not too serious or anything. Just
we're thinking kung fu / 80s action movie combined.
Yeah.
I'm loving it already. I mean,
yeah. Like I said, like we're instrumental. We can call our songs whatever we want.
Yeah. It's unusual.
It's automatic too. Sometimes it's coming up with a good title to fit a song.
Well, I'm going to throw this at you. You haven't released a single yet.
No, we're not releasing a band.
We will have a track out probably in advance of the album coming out.
But it won't be like a single you can buy. It'll just be something up on.
Yeah, just a track like
more of a preview to the album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you talked about that yourselves as a band? I know you have released singles before, and they've
like video. We do videos.
We'll do videos for like YouTube and stuff. But we like hopefully we'll do 3-4 like not singles, but 3-4 videos by the time the album, let's say, cycle is done.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Like mining for original material as a band for a video, it's always a fucking. You might as well just throw it at the wall and see what sticks. I think the way you've approached it, and maybe Howard would agree with me, I find it fascinating watching you play live and how you achieve the song through music. And I don't think you haven't done anything wrong in the previous videos, and maybe that's just something to think about with the new ones. That why not just film yourself in a cool area, just playing it live.
We did for the last album. We did a live track.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I loved it.
Like, is it Living Bridges? I think that was filmed live. Shane Serrano.
Yeah, it was beautifully filmed.
But that was like Joe. That's tracked live and everything.
Yeah,
but that's not the album audio, and that's actually the live. That's us live in the room.
Yes,
in the one-shot video
But that's nearly almost what happened there. Is that's got a lot of views and stuff. But it doesn't have the layers like we put all the work in on the album.
Okay.
So and there's a lot more pressure when you're filming a live video as well. I'm not a big fan of it because like when we're playing live, I like to put on a show. So if you're talking about a gig or something, we've done the recorded gigs and stuff, like Joe doing shots from gigs, and I prefer to just rock out and put on a show and make a few mistakes. Whereas if I know I'm being filmed, I don't like it as much.
Yeah.
So like, cause the music is kind of tricky. I find if you really want to nail the take, Joe, you can't have as much fun performing. And like I love performing like on stage. If you ever see Shardborne, we're always like smiling, having a great time.
Yeah, it's so much fun to watch you.
But when you've got the red light on, being recorded, it's not
the same.
You have to rein that in a small bit.
Yeah.
And like I don't like that for live, Joe. But maybe we could do it maybe for a video. But I'd nearly just do a live video shoot and put it over the album audio or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I want people to hear. I'm proud how the album turned out. And I would like them to hear with the full glory rather than, and if they want to see us do it live, they can come see us live.
Yes.
Maybe.
I would say as well that when we did the Living Bridges thing last time, when that got shared like down the line by things, a lot of people assumed that it was the album audio. So it was being shared by like blogs and stuff and being presented as being presented, and we were like, oh, the album was like this. Which, like, to be honest, I'm fine with, but it's like it's just something that we talked about as a band a little bit, that we were like, oh geez, like a lot of people just assumed that was from the album, but it's actually its own recording it actually came out before we put out the record, that video. So it was kind of like a teaser kind of a thing for the album, but then a lot of people assumed that it was the finished album version, which it is. But like we definitely plan on doing like a couple of videos for the tunes on this, definitely, and we have ideas for some, and some of them we'll probably figure out as we do.
Is there any band in particular that you kind of look to? Maybe you could name, say, a UK band or a European band that you like their style of videos, that, again, Shardborne, if you had the budget, could do it, maybe?
Not particularly. When it comes to videos, like, I would be happy enough to trust in a good videographer, like somebody who knows what they're doing.
Okay.
I'm a big believer, like Joe, from experience. You don't have to do everything yourself, let's say. You can just trust in a professional who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I'd be happy. Like, let's say Shane Serrano in Limerick does unbelievable work.
He's a very good friend of ours.
So, and like, I would be, but again, you do need to give them something to work off of.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of good videos from bands, but like, Joe, I think maybe with the prog, let's say the proggier side of stuff, the videos usually they're not usually that interesting. I think a lot of some of the heavier bands, a lot of the hardcore bands are putting out really good videos, like across all sorts of budgets.
Yeah.
Like just like really creative and stuff. Same with some of the kind of newer death metal bands as well, coming out with some kind of almost twisted videos, but like they're kind of engaging.
Yeah.
But the problem is all our songs are so long that it's hard to have a concept that like is entertaining for 7 minutes. So you kind of need a narrative, and then that's tough with our stuff because there's no lyrics to work off. So you but I would be happy to trust in somebody. So if we had the budget for it, I'd be happy to trust in a good videographer to just like basically we'd work with them and do whatever. But Joe, coming up with concepts and stuff is tough.
It's a huge cost as well. These things aren't cheap; they're really expensive.
No.
Yeah,
but I think it's something that's been lacking in rock and metal in the last 10 years or so, is that there's very few amazing videos out there. There's one or two that maybe pop out every now and again that'll keep you engaged, but it's usually pretty
but the majority of them are abandoned warehouses or fucking
or
it just falls into the cliche at that stage, you know.
Or else you're dressed up as a fucking warrior and you're trying to fight some guy in a field.
It's hard to avoid, like, you know, like you say, the like kind of like desaturated warehouse versus the out in the forest with the like old pagan / Viking / medieval gear.
They've been done to death, like
done to death. Or you get the person on a trip where everything is all kind of a little bit you know, a little bit. Joe, like I'd really love to put some time into like Joe. Like,
I just thought of a great one there, Owen. Smack my bitch up, I'd apology. Cancelled. He said bitch, and he said smack at the same fucking time. That's
you just got demonetized.
There you go, man.
I think a sliding door situation where the two of you go off on your own, you know, because you're twins, you can pull it off.
That's cool.
or a sister episode where, you know, yourself, T and Tamara, and get Roger in there for a bit of cracking.
Yeah. To be honest, I hadn't even considered the use of like twins in a video. Like that makes.
I think a good storytelling video is kind of there's not enough of that.
There's not enough, and it's really hard to do, I guess, as well. You
know, like I'd love to do something like that where there's actually. Like, Joe, let's say you could do a short, no dialogue film in 7 minutes.
Yes, you could.
You know, which I think would be better than. I know you were saying it'd be cool to see the band doing the stuff, but I think that would be more engaging for a viewer, like than just watching us play, like Joe, with a strobe light on off.
Yeah.
So, like,
No, but see, you've done all that, but you have it's really good. But that was back in 2015.
yeah,
It's
back in
2023 now, so you have
back
to
in
come up with something new.
2000.
Was that 7 or 8 years it took you to?
Yeah.
I will say as well that because we play in other bands and stuff, that like for example, now with one of my bands, We Come in Pieces, we've done loads of the live performance videos. We do them ourselves.
Yeah.
We've done 7 or 8 sessions where we've done that stuff. So we've experimented with that format a lot, like as individuals. So it's like something that, like, I think if we do it, we'd like to maybe try and put a spin on it somehow. Like you said, like you alluded to at the start of the question, if we were to do something live performance wise, it would have to be like a special location or something that would be like
Mitch's Down Caves or something, or fucking
something not so cliche, or something that will be like that, like, the camera could go off us as a band and, like, take in the background and stuff, the surroundings.
But like Howard said, though, there's budgetary constraints when you're doing a video as well. Like, I mean,
and time as well is the big one.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you do in a day, 2 days, and then it's just like, that kind of crack. But I'd love to have a really good go at it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, look, yeah, you just have to look at the crawling. I must give him a fucking
great
shout out.
Lads as well.
Yeah. What they do, and they're on a fucking budget. I don't care what anybody says. Like, and they have it in-house, and they just do a fucking great job, So
I have to say they're very clued in as well with the way they do their vlogs and stuff like that. When every time they're doing a show and stuff like that. Like, I know, I'm sure you do the same, Richie, that when if you're at one of the shows where, like, they're, like, I'm checking out that vlog afterwards to see what's in it and see what the crack is and all that. Because I end up doing sound for them a bit and being in there, I'm like, there we have the background. Oh, look at this. It's cool. They're a great band, really, really cool. And they definitely have lessons to be learned off them, you know what I mean?
I'd say they played in Limerick not too long ago, and I'd say half the crowd already had crawling merch before the gig started.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, they know what they're doing.
I was at a couple of festivals in the UK lately, and like Bloodstock and Arctangent, and there was loads of people wearing their merch. Loads.
Wow.
Loads. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up Arctangent, because with Shardborne, I know you've toured as well a fair bit, but like there will be a cycle coming up now where you will be actively promoting the album in a live format. What's the limit in relation to traveling you will impose on yourself? Will you go to, say, the likes of fucking Germany? Could you get an invite to say Dunk or something like that, or Arctangent?
We would definitely pretty much go anywhere for the right reasons. Do you know what I mean? For example, now the further field gigs, for example, if we're doing metal days in Slovenia, we're not going to lose our whole going over there. It'd have to be financially somewhat, like a little bit, like we're not going to go driving over there if we're not getting some kind of financial
or shows on the way or whatever. Yeah.
But we're definitely already been looking at going over to the UK. Like I say, I was there a few weeks ago. I made a lot of contacts. I hadn't been there in a year or two. I made a lot of fresh contacts.
Okay.
Reconnected with some people that I hadn't seen in a while. So it's definitely on our agenda to go over to the UK, do a lot more gigging in Ireland. We haven't been as active in Ireland as we would like in the last while. We played some shows in Limerick, but I mean, we don't like.
It's what like the reality is, like every band, like Joe, we all have stuff going on. Everyone in the band is involved in other various musical projects, and then there's also, like, Ben has got a studio where he's recording people flat out. Cormac as well. Joe has he has a young kid, and he's also, like, Joe, busy playing music and, like, Joe's regular job. Like, Ciaran is in Dolan's the whole time, so, like, everyone's kind of, it's just about getting our schedules together as well.
Yeah.
But like, Joe, the goal is to do more and get things out there. It's just we don't do as many of, maybe, like, before, like, how we'll, like, attest to this, like when we were younger, like we were doing the shows everywhere all the time.
We would have played the opening of an envelope, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, but like I think our days of like traveling somewhere, opening up and getting paid, nothing, like they're behind us. Like we're all a little bit older. Like things like we're you know, so definitely I would say we plan on gigging this a lot more than we have like gigged in the last like couple of years. But like it still has to make sense. Like we're not gonna, like, for example, not to be like bad mouthing anybody or anything like that, we're not gonna go play in Fibbers for no money, like second band on of a bill of 6 bands where you kind of feel like you're playing to nobody for no, you know, you're playing for no reason. Like if we're playing a show now, like it has to make sense for us. Like it has to be what we will consider worthwhile. So I would, like, you know, we talked about the likes of Backtangent and stuff like that. We would be pushing to get the likes of that over like gigging around Ireland all the time. Like we will definitely like to keep playing a couple of runs in Ireland every year, playing some really good shows. Obviously, it's easy for us to get good shows in Limerick. Let's say the Siege. I mean, like I just have to turn around and give myself a handshake and say you're on the Siege. You know what I mean? So it's not. That's not hard, but so like that's
the thing. But like even in Ireland now, Joe, like Galway is a little bit like Joe. We love Galway, like Joe, but the shows there just don't seem to be materializing as much as they used to.
Yeah.
Like Joe, Cork is great as well, but like Joe, there's limited venues and there's only so many shows a month or whatever that can actually work. Like you know, go flat out.
Yeah.
Even Joe. When we were gigging before, places like Kilkenny and Waterford were on cards, and now you'd really want to know that you're going there for a good show and stuff. Like, but Joe, we want to gig, like Joe, we love.
And we plan on it. Like, you know, like I say, England is definitely on the agenda. Like, I think we could easily do 2 runs in the UK next year, play our cards right.
Yeah.
They could fit into festivals and stuff. It's definitely something that we're working towards. And like I think that kind of style of gigging is more
realistic.
It's more what we're looking at than like playing tons and tons of shows in Ireland. And I would like to do stuff further afield. It just has to make sense.
But I mean, like if anyone's got a gig idea, send us an offer and we'll consider it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my point. That's my.
You know
point.
what I mean? We're open to playing any show really, but like Joe, it's just whether or not.
It comes with experience, I think, and you've been at it for so long. Jesus, you're going since what, 2008 or 2007 or something, as Shardborne. I mean, you acquire experience of being fucked over and playing on bills and going up and not getting any money for petrol and coming home after.
Like I've never minded.
You know?
I don't think I've ever done a show that I fully regretted doing or anything. But like, you know, like it's just.
Oh, I've done a few, man.
Okay. No, I don't want to drag the lads away.
I think it's more about.
I don't want to drive. I don't want to get the lads driving up to you know, Bally backwards for like.
Yeah, and leaving the kid at home and getting a babysitter and.
Yeah, like it's more so that than like not want like I'll gig anywhere, but like it's just I don't want to.
For example,
I don't want to make it not fun for them or the lads to not enjoy the experience.
Like for example, now I played Templemore Metal Festival, not the last one, but the one beforehand. I'd love to play there with Shardborne. Thought it was a nicely ran festival. It wasn't anywhere, you know, like on the beat. It wasn't anywhere on the regular, like, you know, big city places. I would play that absolutely no problem with Shardborne. I thought it was a great little festival, ran really well. I'd have no problem playing that. I'd have no problem playing.
Angie played Whiplash, Howard. You enjoyed that?
Oh yeah, Sligo was great crack, man. It's a great town.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about the Whiplash Festival. Yeah.
So there's like, I mean, there's like we'd love to play all these like stuff like that. It's just like, yeah.
But I'm just saying, you have to think fucking bigger because.
Or whatever, like, you know.
I'm saying think bigger because this fucking album that you've done is absolutely excellent. It's just.
Oh, thanks, Reggie.
You're going to get way more attention than what you're kind of saying. We do 3 or 4 gigs in Ireland and stuff like that.
I've been burned before, Richie. You know.
I know, and sure, look, that's part of our fucking DNA is just always kind of be fucking putting ourselves down and stuff like that.
No, I appreciate that statement. No, thanks.
You know, I mean, this is fucking staggering. The musicianship on it, like. So.
I think all of us are really super proud of the album.
Yeah.
Like in the lead up to getting things out there, like I've heard more lately than I had in the last, let's say, year or so, because we've been working on getting everything out, and like like with a little bit of time between having worked on it and stuff, I can appreciate it a bit more now, and I am really proud of what we've done. And
it is.
I think it sounds brilliant. Like Ben and Kieran did a really good job recording it. All the performances from the lads as well are really good. So I think, I just really want people to hear it now, and I think, I think that's what most guys in bands want, is just like people to give it a listen and get into it.
It's the thing I've been the happiest with that I've ever worked with in any of my own bands. It's the thing I'm the most proud of recording wise. I'm like, I think it's the best thing that I've ever worked on. So I hope that is reflected, like, I hope that's reflected in like other people's opinion, but like at the same time, I'm happy. So that's it's
success.
It's brilliant to hear, like, you saying like, oh, you should be expecting a bit more attention and stuff. That's awesome. But like, as I'm happy, so that's the thing that I'm most content with, really, like, and like if we get loads of gig offers, we will absolutely
happy days.
If we get some interesting gigs, like, I'll do everything in our power to do them.
If I could tour full time, I would do it. Do you know what I mean? Like that would be. It's just like, it's not realistic with the.
Yes.
Everyone, do you know what I mean? But like, if I had that opportunity, I'd love to do it.
I think we all would, and I go back to unlimited.
There's people out there that don't really.
They shouldn't be doing it. But going back to the unlimited budget for a launch show, if a band had an unlimited budget, I know what I'd be doing. They'd be touring all day every year. If you had that money just to be able to finance yourself,
you put it into a tour cycle.
Wouldn't do it. Oh, absolutely. If it's a choice between doing a video or doing a tour, 100 times out of 100, you're going to pick the tour.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it, lads. Congratulations on a fucking fantastic album.
Cheers,
I know that it's probably impossible to think about the work that went into it, because you've been on this for a long time. I just think it's staggering, the musicianship on it. It is a musical odyssey. I don't care what anybody says, and it's a journey, and any listener wants to be taken on a journey, and the playing is through the roof. You've created something special as a band, and if it's your last release, or if it's another one on the way, or if it's another one on the way, you can stand over this one and say, yeah, we fucking nailed it on that one. And
I think it's an early contender for album of the year for me. You just have to listen to it a little bit more. But it just seems
I have to say,
leagues ahead of everything else at the moment.
I have to say, I remember years ago, we did the Aeonian Sequence EP, and I remember talking to you about it, and you were like, I think you're an album band, and he was like, I can't wait to hear you guys do a proper album. And like,
here we are.
And like, here we are, fucking, what, like 8 years later, talking about the second one. So I'm delighted to be talking to you about it anyway.
But anyone that will attest it, and anyone that's gotten in the car with me in the last 10 years, I have Aeonian Sequence in the fucking thing all the fucking time. Anyone gets into the car, it comes on. One of my favorite releases of an Irish band ever. Hugely influential. I think it kind of swung 360 at one point. I remember we started off and you were young guys and we were a bit older, and then as time went on a little bit, started picking up influences off of E, which is amazing to think about.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's really cool. But more power to you. You're a fantastic fucking band. And one of the real pleasures of watching you play live is the two of you guys playing guitar back and forth with little smiles and little fills and little.
I always say, every time I make a mistake, I smile. And people are like, "You're the happiest band I've ever seen." And I'm like, that's what it does. Like, because you see guys on stage and. Like, John, like, I know you love playing on stage as well. Like, you got to enjoy it. But I see some guys on stage and they're just, like, stuck there and they're like, oh, geez. They're worried. And that's just like, just let it go. Have fun. You're with your mates. You're having a beer. Fucking, do you know what I mean? You're doing the best thing. Like, do you know what I mean? It's there's half the people in the crowd wish they could be on stage.
Yeah.
Because if they were able to. Do you know what I mean? So you should be enjoying it. And like, John, that's what I always try and enjoy it. And I know you always enjoy it as well, Howard. Do you know what I mean? You're
fucking facts, man.
except in Parkland where maybe Joe, you're ripping your soul out halfway through a song or whatever.
Part of me's enjoying it,
Yeah.
There's that amazing picture in Dolan's of myself and Danielle and Howard. That's there you go. That sums it up, man. That sums it up. So yeah. So look, lads, best of luck with the album launch. Oars in the Water. It's coming out.
Yeah. Cheers.
It's coming out. Is it the 6th or 5th of October? Have you decided?
We'll probably put it out on the 6th. Get it up the night before we do the launch gig, so that people have a chance to listen to it.
Yeah, brilliant.
And then it'll be out the day after at the launch gig, and I'll just say, like, we should have CDs and we'll have merch, but we'll be doing like a pre-order for vinyl, just because like vinyl takes a while to get done.
It deserves a vinyl release
for everyone. It's
like
crazy.
A lot of bands are doing that now as well, where they kind of just give it a bit of a buffer so that like people can listen to it at their leisure. And then like we'll be bringing it out on like vinyl after. It'll like probably 6 months after or something. However long.
It deserves a vinyl release. It absolutely does.
That is what like we will be going for.
It was the format we originally intended on it being released on, and that's what dictated the track order when we came up with it. Was to make it fit like properly on the vinyl, but it's such a large outlay, and it's also the wait times vary so wildly that we didn't want to put the launch gig at jeopardy. We just said we'd pick a launch date, stick with it, and then the vinyl when it comes, it'll come.
People have waited long enough. It's time to get it out there.
8 years.
8 years. Yeah. So Owen and Ciaran, congratulations again.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Richie.
Yeah, and send my respect to Cormac and Ben as well, who couldn't make it tonight. Yeah, so Shardborne, Oars in the Water, contender for Album of the Year already. Congratulations, lads, and crucially, support your local metal scene.
Yeah, cheers.